emotional intelligence and become more intelligent?
It's hard because when people are addicted to media, and I have a friend who, for a while there, she was reading emails from, you know, this group out of Israel, and she was reading in all the Middle East stuff, and she was so immersed in that it literally was making her sick. Her body was actually getting sick from the stress levels about something she could do nothing. There's no way she could have any impact, and it wasn't impacting her in any way in real time during the day at all, other than she was just consuming this and worried about all the stuff that was going on.
Sure.
And she's just cold turkey. She stopped, at least in that piece of the media. She stopped receiving
that piece.
That piece, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think it's, I think the first part is realizing that media does impact you. Maybe that's the first step we all need to take, is just realizing that what we are consuming, whether it be through Facebook or news media or any of it, it does impact our emotions, and our emotions impact the rest of our day. So I am a big believer in the don't check your phone first thing in the morning. Like, I don't need to know first thing in the morning about everything bad that happened overnight. Because I think when you wake up with that emotion, and that's the first emotion you feel for the day, it leads you the whole rest of the day. So I think that's one thing we could do.
But if I have children that maybe live in two different households, or if I have, let's say, a mentally challenged brother, then I don't really have that luxury of turning off and on.
Right.
I'm on 24/7 because I have to have my phone right there. I don't want to take my phone in my bedroom, but to be connected in this society, I have to be there for my children and my brother.
But you can choose what you consume. You can consume the information from them and not from every other source.
Chuck Inman? We're going to talk about that because things pop up on my phone all the time. I'm like,
I'll teach you how to turn that
Turn off
notifications.
Thank you, ladies, for this technology lesson.
You're welcome.
I think one of the things that I do is I set aside certain times of the day where I'll go through my email, and then when I'll make my phone calls, I'll get into a zone for making phone calls where I know exactly what I need to do. And it keeps me in that zone, and I try and minimize, put filters on as much as I can, where I can control my emotions. And once you start to understand how emotions control your behavior, then you start to get a feel for what kind of filters you can apply.
So what I'm hearing from Noel is we have to eliminate eliminate those sources that are around us.
The constant bombardment.
Okay.
Right.
So
Well, or at least, you know, I like
filter.
Chuck's idea. At least make time for it. It doesn't have to be all the time. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy hearing about the Kardashians, but I don't need to do it every moment of every day.
Okay.
You know, I can choose when to do that.
So the most important thing for me every day is the weather.
And
Right.
Right?
Nothing
Who
wrong with
provides that information?
I have a weather app. Actually, Alexa provides me my weather information. Alexa, what's the weather? Yeah.
And it's the one job that you can keep and be wrong 99% of the time.
True
Right?
statement. Yes.
So what are those teachable moments that because we're also talking about trying to instill emotional intelligence in our children and our partners, right?
Yeah.
And then we've thought that how can we, without just putting that training on them, right? Because everyone needs to be trained. Everyone can sharpen the saw.
Yeah.
What are some things that we can do today?
Model. You can model good behavior, and I'm working on modeling good behavior for my grandson. Not picking up my phone when we're eating or when I'm doing, and focusing on them. So that's modeling behavior. So when you figure it out, you can cascade that out naturally in your environment. You can do it for your employees. You can do it for when you start your meeting and just say, phones away, please, unless you've got somebody that's in the hospital. You know, so modeling that behavior is an easy thing to do.
Okay. And you talked about that earlier that's probably been where you're using the most success is those role playing and
Exactly. It's, you know, and I've got a 5-year-old grandson, and one of the things about him is I can tell by his emotions when things aren't going right, and I'll stop and actually ask him questions. You know, what's going on? You know, help me understand. You know, how does that make you feel? And they can tell you. And it's really amazing. If you spend time to literally listen to them and go into conversation with them, you can do that. And so I'm thinking, if I can do this with a 5-year-old grandson, you can do this with customers, you can do this with clients and salespeople and everybody else you're dealing with.
And I think the key there is asking questions. I think we
Yes.
all need to get better about asking questions when we don't understand, not making assumptions about people or things or how they feel, or even about stories. I mean, hashtag alternative facts. You know, I mean, are stories true? Are they not true? We need to start asking questions. And questioning is emotionally intelligent to do, because it's saying, hey, I'm feeling something about this. Let me check for clarification. Let me ask somebody. Let me seek to understand before I let my emotions just come out on everybody. And I think that's something we can all do, is just ask more
And
questions.
I like that because it gives you space, mental space, to stop and yourself decide, because your brain is sorting through millions of facts that you've learned as a sophisticated adult of how you should respond to this. So it gives you a moment as they're answering the question. You get more data, you have a better response or maybe you respond with another question when they tell you something. You said, well, I hear you saying that. What did that mean? What does that mean at school if you're going to do that? Or what does that mean? Are you going to fire that person? Or what's your next move? And again, that questioning, to question is the answer. That's been one of my lifelong quotes.
I like
Yep.
that.
And the one thing I would add to questioning is make sure that you ask non-threatening questions.
Oh, yes.
Instead of saying,
Please.
why did you do that? You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
not that one.
Please.
My favorite is like with my kids. I always say that something would happen, and instead of going, all right, you're in trouble, which makes them focus on me. Same with your employees.
Yeah.
It makes you focus on you. You say something like, wow, that's a sticky wicket. What are you going to do with that? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
What do you think should happen? You know, and just, man, and when you throw it back on them, they're just like, oh.
Now we're out of bounds, and I'm with three very emotionally intelligent people. Are you emotionally intelligent all the time?
Not when I sleep.
Not when I'm around my husband, probably.
That's interesting. Well, that's a whole other
That's
subject.
probably what he's thinking right now watching this. I have no
Yeah.
doubt.
And Valerie,
Yeah.
are you?
I've gotten better and better over the years. I'm so much more zen and mellow because I stop and don't respond emotionally. I understand that I have to give myself grace because I am a feeling kind of person, and I need to really stop. I had one thing that happened to me when I was just married to Ed. I stood up and with a party around his pool when we were both young, and this guy heard one of his bosses walked over, and there was a little cat walking around the edge, and he booted the cat with his foot into the middle of the pool.
Oh, no.
And I immediately responded. I stood up and I slapped him across the face like that.
Huh.
Okay, so Ed thought his career was
Say,
over.
Ed still have jobs, or-
Oh my God! I can't believe she just did that. So I walked that back a bit. I would respond differently now, but anyway. So I've had to learn.
You know, what's interesting with the holidays coming up, we respond to people in different ways. Sometimes when we've got family over and friends over for party, we'll walk into a room, we'll see someone that we've had problems with, and our brain will be telling us, warning, warning. We'll walk out of the room, or we even leave the party without even saying a word to that person. So it's being aware of, what are the things that can push us to that point.
What are our
where-
triggers?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good word.
So I think one of the things that we talked about is that we pinpointed these all, but I think we have one area that we're all challenged is how do we become more emotionally intelligent when it relates to technology? Because this morning when I was trying to get my feeds up, before to tease my show, and that we're constantly, one thing guaranteed about technology, it will go wrong. It's very easy to get frustrated. How can we become more emotionally intelligent when it relates to technology? You're going to look right here and answer that question.
I have decided that when people will say to me, my clients will say to me, I'm not good at technology, I go, we're not saying that anymore. Part of it is your words. Your words feed your subconscious, and we all now say, and they know to say it around me, they go, I'm learning technology and I'm working on getting it to do what I need it to do for my business.
Terrific. Stevie Don?
I think understand where your zone of genius is, and if it's not in technology, that's also okay. There are people who are great at technology, and sometimes I think it's being emotionally intelligent enough to realize you're getting stressed, you're getting frustrated, you want to throw that phone against the wall and say, hey, before I do that and have to spend, $800 more on a new iPhone, why don't I stop, put it down, and say, hey, who can I call? Who do I know that can help me with this? And let them help you. I think that we need to be better at asking for help.
I did for about a year and a half. I would do monthly 90-minute webinars for a company. And one of the things that helped me the most was being as prepared as I could be, and then realizing if something happened, it was going to happen.
It's
And just
okay.
take a deep breath and have a plan B. And you know, that's one of the best things you can do is you realize things will happen with technology. Be prepared, but also take a deep breath. Say, we'll get through this.
Absolutely. You're Out of Bounds. I'm Chris Quinn. Chuck Inman at Inman Chuck. Stevie Don at SD Inspires. And Valerie Riefenstahl at V Riefenstahl. You can find them all on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Here's a resource for you. I can't thank you all enough for being here today. I think we've had a great show. Out of Bounds. Please watch our content, share it, and hashtag YEI. Follow the conversation Out of Bounds, and we look forward to seeing you on the next edition of Inside Fort Worth Business and Out of Bounds. I'm Chris Quinn.